He's Rich Eisen from the NFL Network. He's in Baltimore. Set the scene. What does it feel like in Baltimore today, Rich?
It's, awkward. It's the only way to put it. It's awkward because the city's actually set up for the 200th anniversary of the Star-Spangled Banner to celebrate it. Not to give a history lesson to start this thing off, but Francis Scott Key wrote it 200 years ago in remembrance of the defense of Fort McHenry, which is just a few miles away from the game tonight in Chesapeake Bay. And the town has actually been planning to use this game as a way to celebrate the 200th anniversary. It's also, as we all know, the 13th anniversary of 9/11. And a pretty huge football game, certainly for a team that is 0-1, having already lost a home division game to kick the season off 4 days ago. But as we all know, it was a different football world 4 days ago, and tonight is their first football step after Ray Rice cut and suspended. So there is an absolute lot going on, certainly for us tonight on NFL Network and CBS. First time there's a partnership between the two of us for a Thursday night game. So lots of moving parts, as they would say in our business, Dan.
Is the commissioner in Baltimore?
Not that I know of, no.
Is there an interview set up by NFL Network or CBS with the commissioner tonight?
Not that I know of either. I know JB might be talking to Steve Bisciotti for tonight's show. That's in the offing. I don't know if that's happening. It's up to the minute. I just left the meeting to come talk with you. But there's obviously a full discussion of everything that's going on. But we are going to obviously keep a lot of stuff in the football rails as well, Dan. And that, as you just read with this tweet, it's been the media has had its hands dirty as well in this whole process, or muddied. Let's put it that way, because not many people in our business are equipped to have social conversations on issues like domestic violence. That's not what people watch sports for. That's not what sports analysts are on television for. And a lot of silly things can be said and or tweeted, as you just pointed out. So, and it is, again, a big football game tonight. So we're going to have football talk, but obviously talk about Ray Rice and what's going on with the league and how there's a tremendous credibility gap that's growing wider by the moment for fans, and how the league is addressing all of this, or how well the league is addressing all of this. That'll all be obviously in the spotlight tonight.
We've talked about the league is coated with Teflon, but it's different now because now there's a person. It was the NFL with concussions. It wasn't a person with concussions. It was the league and what has transpired in the last 40 years. Now you have Commissioner Goodell in people's sights, so it's different because you have somebody to point a finger at, somebody to blame, somebody to ask questions to. And I think that's the difference in the scenario that you have now. Even though it's coated with Teflon, he's not coated with Teflon.
Well, and also there's a person in Janae Rice. There's an actual woman that was struck, and we saw it. We saw it with our own two eyes in this video. And it's hard to recall the last video that I saw that was leaked that was so jarring and disgusting.
Well, I said that Rodney King was that video.
Well, I mean, so there's a woman at the center of this whole thing, and a child who will now Google years from now this video of Janae Rice splayed out on an elevator floor. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And, I personally wish that folks in our business would stop showing that video. And I know there's a lot of Ravens who feel that way, players, I mean. And anytime, people say that, obviously it could be infused with, well, you're trying to sweep something under the rug. But not at all.
No, I'm with you. I said that yesterday, that, we've tried to limit it as much as possible. I think we did once an hour when the video first came out. I think we played it 4 or 5 times this entire week. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's gratuitous and self-serving.
No, I understand on Monday it had a quote-unquote news value.
Yes.
But now it's Thursday.
Yep.
And so, yes, to go back to your original point, the person in many people's minds that's in the middle of all of this is Janae Rice. Janae being, having to relive this.
What are the players saying, the Ravens? Did you get a chance to talk to them?
I haven't gotten a chance to personally chat with them. And, obviously that should happen pregame tonight. But from what I've heard from people I've spoken to them, they're conflicted. They're conflicted because Ray's a friend. And they, seeing this video, I think, saw him in a light that nobody really thought. And the crazy thing is, again, Dan, I mean, many of all of us are guilty of this, is what did we think was going on in the elevator from the previous video when we saw her?
Well, that's why I said,
out?
How are people surprised at the?
It's just seeing it, though. I mean, obviously, in our world now,
I didn't need to see it.
There's many people that and that's why a lot of folks have problems with how all of this happened. And I'm going to say this later on tonight, in my mind, is that the ends now no longer justify the means for people that wanted Rice kicked out on the spot.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, they wanted him kicked out on the spot from seeing the first video. And now that he is kicked out, for those people who wanted him kicked out for the minute, it no longer the means don't justify that end anymore because of how the means went down. What happened?
What question do you want answered today?
Personally, it's how much longer is this going to take? Because now that this investigation is going, the Ted Wells investigation took months. It was months. And I think a lot of people who are involved in this, certainly the Rice family, Janae wants to get this thing put to rest. And everybody does.
Well, I think the commissioner does as well, but there's inconsistencies here. That's the problem, is they are prolonging this. I don't know if it's the media. I think the media is keeping this alive.
Well, clearly, Dan, and again, I'm not telling any tales out of school here, that there's a growing part of the fan base that does not trust what is coming out from the league.
Yeah.
And in order to stave off that credibility gap from widening, coming up with an investigation with somebody who ran the FBI, and obviously he's from a law firm that does have ties to the NFL, and people will definitely poke holes in how independent this really is. But just, I've in 11 years have known John Mara, and I've met Art Rooney and Dan Rooney. This is, I believe, an investigation that will come up with facts and answers that many people may not like, but it will still be something that I don't believe will be whitewashed. Now, you can accuse me of being an NFL employee in that regard. So be it. I'll take those slings and arrows. But I do believe that whatever comes out of this will be the truth. I mean, and if there was an NFL employee that did leave a voicemail somewhere, trust me, within 5 seconds, the league security know who exactly what phone that came from.
Oh, they already know. If there is such a person, it did happen, they already know who it is.
So, I mean, that's all going to come out in the wash, and that's why I just want to know is how long is this going to take? Because I want to know the answers, and I'd like to put the focus on what a lot of fans would like, unless they're completely turned off by this whole venture, and that's talking about football.
We're talking to Rich Eisen from the NFL Network, joining us from Baltimore. What's the story on the field tonight, in your opinion?
Oh, gosh, the story on the field tonight is how the Ravens are going to play a football game on a short week and a rivalry game with all of this going on. And, the running game would not have had Ray Rice anyway. Rice was scheduled to return to the team tomorrow.
Isn't that amazing?
So, how will they come up with a W? Because 0-2, with 0-2 at home in the division on top of it, doesn't cut it. And they are going to have a big, long week and a half with all of this going on, sitting at 0-2. And then you have the Steelers, who the last time they were 2-0 was their Super Bowl loss season against the Packers in 2010. So it's been a while since they've started the season with two right feet forward. And so obviously they had an interesting second half where Hoyer was the second coming of Otto Graham in Heinz Field. So, again, it's a huge game in the AFC North. But on the field tonight, I think it will be how the Ravens can collect themselves and maybe the rivalry game is the perfect game for that. with all of this going on.
What time's coverage start tonight on the NFL Network?
6 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be me and Mooch, Marshall, and Irvin up to 7:30, and then JB, Cower, and Dion take you to kickoff. But we might pop in every now and then on that portion of the pregame as well.
Good to visit with you. I'll talk to you soon, bud.
Thank you, DP.
All right, Rich Eisen, NFL Game Day Morning and the Rich Eisen podcast on the NFL Network.